Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
Welcome to the pregame with Matt and Jax.
This is the pregame. I'm Matt.
I'm Jax.
And we're back after a week off and ready to go. We have so much to talk about today. The return of college basketball, some football still going on. Actually, both football is still going on. And, of course, the fantasy football playoffs and so much more.
Yeah, there is a ton of stuff to talk about today. Of course, fantasy football is in full swing with getting ready for the playoffs. This is like do or die week, really.
Yeah, there is so much going on, and there are a bunch of between college basketball, college football, and the NFL. There are just so many good games going on.
Yeah, this is going to be a strange week because, I mean, man, there is a ton going on this week, and, I'm ready for it.
All right, let's go ahead and start taking a look at the college basketball matchups. We've got number 1 Gonzaga taking on number 2 Baylor this week, and I'm pretty pumped about this one because it's, if Baylor is decent, then we can push the Zags down the line already to start the season off, and that's kind of all I want.
Whenever you think of perennial basketball powers, you don't traditionally think of Baylor, but this year they have some athletes, that's for sure.
Well, Baylor, typically they can have good teams like once every 4 years and every 2 coaches, so.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's exactly how it goes.
All right, taking a look at the NCAA football, the best matchup that I could find, and I'm really excited about, is number 13 BYU versus number 18 Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, Coastal Carolinas, they have been like our darlings all year, and now this week in that matchup, man, I don't know, because BYU also kind of has been too.
This is basically the Super Bowl that we needed, and it should be like a national championship or maybe at least like a play-in for either team to be considered. I know they're not as good as, the usual suspects like Oklahoma or Ohio State or any of those guys, but, let's make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I want to see what comes out of this matchup because, man, this is going to be something else between BYU and Coastal Carolina. Again, neither of them are perennial powerhouses, but we're going to find out who's the team that's going to come out on top this week.
And still, my favorite thing to say is that basically they look like the cast of the Tiger King. The coaches do.
That's exactly right. Yeah, the coaching staff is pretty much, it's almost as if they're wearing Tiger King costumes every week.
All right, let's move over to the main course. We've got the Browns versus the Titans for the NFL. This one should be pretty good. The Titans have the defensive advantage, really, but there should be some amazing running between both teams because, 3 really good running backs will be playing.
Absolutely. And, of course, now Nick Chubb's fully healthy and everything. So you have that 1-2 punch of him and Kareem Hunt, which is going to be tough to stop for any team. But the Titans, I got to say this about Cleveland this year because their strength of victories over teams hasn't been that impressive. They have one of the lowest win percentage for the teams that they've beaten this year in the entire NFL.
The second game that we're going to highlight here are the Rams and the Cardinals, and it's going to be another big division matchup for your Rams after last week. And then, well, actually, I'm just going to go ahead and let you tell me what's going on here. What's going to happen between these 2 teams?
It's going to be a tale of 2 Jared Goffs in terms of the Rams offense. The one that can control the mistakes, and the other one who just turns over the ball at will. So we're going to find out which one that we're going to get. But also, in terms of Arizona, they've had their own offensive struggles recently, as well as Kyler Murray's been having some struggling passing, as well as teams are finding ways to stop his running, contain him, as his rushing yards are down in their past 4 games opposed to what they were earlier in the season.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching that game too, because I have no idea what way to bet on this one. I picked a way, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's just kind of up in the air, really.
But I will say this, the matchup that I want to see in that game, DeAndre Hopkins versus Jalen Ramsey.
Absolutely. That's going to be great. Why don't we shift gears now and go ahead and take it to Jack's fixing your crappy fantasy team. And in some instances, it's going to be the playoff version.
Yeah, it really is pretty much, because it's almost too late to fix your crappy fantasy leagues at this point, because it is,
Right.
it is crunch time, okay? For a lot of leagues, it's the last regular season game, and it could decide whether or not you make the playoffs, so we'll just jump right into it. At quarterback this week, keep an eye on your matchups, of course, but if you need to go out and grab someone off the waiver wire, Ryan Fitzpatrick would be ideal. He's only owned in 31% of ESPN leagues. Tua is going to be out again this week, and Fitzmagic is going against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. That's a relatively favorable matchup. Also, Kirk Cousins also deserves a look this week, as the Vikings have scored 28 points or more in 4 of their last 5 games. He's got a very favorable matchup against Jacksonville. Now, a friendly reminder this week, Tom Brady is on a bye. So, Brady owners, fix your lineups. Also, Deshaun Watson owners, if you're worried about his production since his top receiver, Will Fuller, is now out due to a suspension, remember, Deshaun Watson is still Deshaun Watson. We've seen all season how he's performed without the likes of DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's going to continue that. Now, speaking of the Texans, Brandon Cooks needs to be played if he's on your team. Maybe he's been like your flex guy or something, debating benching him. No, he needs to see he needs to see your starting lineup, because he will get a boost in fantasy numbers for the rest of the season now that Will Fuller is out with that suspension. Now, a sleeper this week at wide receiver is Gabriel Davis for the Buffalo Bills. The rookie is going to get some looks now with the injury to John Brown. He's now the deep threat for the Bills, Gabriel Davis is. And 2 out of the last 3 weeks, he's had over 70 yards receiving with a touchdown in each one of those games. Now, at running back, now, during Taysom Hill's time at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, and again, he's still in there this week as Drew Brees is still hurt, Latavius Murray has been racking up more fantasy points substantially than Alvin Kamara. However, much of that could be based on matchups. All the same, Murray is sure to at least split carries with Kamara, and last week he had 19 carries for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he's only rostered in 58% of leagues by ESPN Fantasy Leagues. Tight end, Trey Burton of Eagles Super Bowl lore. He's on the Colts now, and he has a touchdown in each of his last 2 games, and he's going against a bad Houston secondary. Those are the teams, those are the players that you need to look at this week for your fantasy football leagues.
So, yeah, it's no hope for me, because I think I have like a 6-6 team, so I'm a little bit out of it.
You're playing for pride. I get it.
That's it, yeah. All right, take a look at the pick'ems. We're going to start off with some college basketball. Tonight's games, number 3, Iowa is taking on Western Illinois. Iowa is favored by 32 points. I'm going to stick with Iowa.
Yeah, I got no reason to pick against Iowa. And Western Illinois, no, they're not good. I've actually been on the radio in that market before, and no, they are not good at all. So I would take Iowa on that.
Probably a better matchup, maybe not. Number 7, Kansas versus Washburn, which I have no idea where the hell Washburn is, but I'll just kind of go with it. There's no spread on this because Kansas is going to win by like 50.
Probably more than that. This could be one of those 100-12 games or something like that. So yeah, we'll see Kansas clean up pretty well.
Number 16, Virginia Tech taking on VMI tonight. Virginia Tech is favored by 21.5, and I'm going to stick with Virginia Tech.
I will as well. No reason to not think that they won't cover.
Number 25, Arizona State taking on Cal. Arizona State is favored by 6.5. I'll go ahead and stick with Arizona State.
Yeah, I will as well. Arizona State, perennially, they're pretty tough coming out of the gate. So yeah. Let's go with them.
Number 8, Michigan State taking on Detroit Mercy, wherever that is. That's a tomorrow night game. There's no spread on this, but we're just going to go ahead and say Michigan State's going to win this.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much of a letdown after you beat Duke in the week prior. So, yeah, Michigan State over Detroit Mercy handily.
Number 9, Creighton taking on Kennesaw State. I'm going to go ahead and go with Creighton. There's no spread on this one either.
Yeah, I mean, Kennesaw State, I don't even know exactly where that's at, but Creighton is always pretty tough. One of those mid majors that's better than most.
I feel like Kennesaw State is in Georgia, but don't hold me to that.
Maybe.
Number 15, Virginia taking on Kent State. You can't really bet against Virginia ever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, Bennett always has that team ready to go. So we'll see them wipe up against Kent State in that one.
Number 4, Wisconsin taking on Marquette. I'm going to go with the devil's advocate on this one and take Marquette.
I don't know how you can bet against Wisconsin. I mean, they're always tough defensively. They're just a team that bangs you around. I think it's going to be Wisconsin.
You can always say that about Marquette, too, with their shooting.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point.
Number 6, Duke taking on Belmont. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Duke because I don't see Belmont doing a whole lot until their conference play comes on.
I can remember when Belmont was Division II, so I'm going to go ahead and go with Duke in this one.
All right, number 17, Texas Tech taking on Troy. I'm going to go with Texas Tech all day. I mean, the spread could be like 70 points. I'd still take them.
Yeah, absolutely. Texas Tech, there's way too athletic to come anywhere near Troy.
All right, number 21, Oregon taking on Seton Hall. I'm going with Seton Hall. Seton Hall is tough. Kevin Willard is not going to lay down to a Pac-12 13-14 team.
Agreed. Seton Hall teams, they're always well coached, and I'm going to go ahead and say that they come out on top against Oregon.
Here's the big one that we were talking about earlier. Number 1, Gonzaga taking on number 2, Baylor. I'm going to go with Gonzaga.
Yeah, I'm going Baylor. I think Baylor's got the right mixture of athletes this year, and man, they're tough. They got tons of shooting. They're going to pull it out. It's my opinion that I think they'll pull it out, and we're going to find out just how good number 1 Gonzaga really is.
Yeah, we'll see. Number 7, Kansas taking on North Dakota State, a team that's near and dear to your heart, but I'm still going to go with Kansas.
I'm not so sure about that, but I've seen their basketball team play. Yeah, Kansas all day.
Number 10 taking on South Carolina. I'm going to stick with South Carolina on this because I don't trust Houston to have a decent basketball team. They never have.
Well, I mean, they did back in the day when the likes of Akeem Olajuwon and such. But at the same time now, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give Houston the benefit of the doubt here.
Well, Houston was doing that whenever they were able to pay for cars and stuff for players.
Well, we'll find out.
All right, number 19, Richmond taking on Furman. Going to stick with Richmond. They upset Kentucky, which I am very happy to say that.
Yeah, Richmond's one of those teams that every few years or so they'll have a big upset for whatever reason. I'm going to go with them here.
Yeah, and the A10 is a pretty good conference.
As we've discussed before, yeah, I know the A10 pretty well, and I can tell you right now, Richmond is they're one of the right at the top there with anybody in that league.
All right, number 23, Ohio State taking on Alabama A&M, whatever that means. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Ohio State, though.
I didn't even know there was an Alabama A&M, but yes, I'm going to go ahead and go with Ohio State.
Yeah, neither do their players. Number 5, Illinois taking on UT Martin. Didn't know Illinois was good this year until like a couple days ago.
Oh yeah,
but I guess I'll go with Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois's got some players this year, some of the top players in the country, actually. In fact, so yeah, I'm going to go with Illinois all day in this one.
Number 17, Texas versus number 12, Villanova. Shaka has hair. First off, we're going to go ahead and let the elephant in the room walk out of the stable.
I mean, we got to go with Shaka Smart, right? I mean, how can you bet against them?
Oh no, yeah, I'm taking Texas all day on that as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and call shenanigans on this one because Texas and Texas Tech are both ranked 17th. I double checked it.
I wasn't even sure that. Oh yeah, I guess that is okay. No, I was looking at my pick because I was like, they're playing Grambling? So I didn't even realize that Grambling had a basketball team. I always hear about the football team, but I just assumed they didn't have a basketball team. But I'm going to go.
I guess they got a couple dollars left in the budget for it.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, so I'm going to go ahead.
Anyways,
go with Texas Tech all day.
Yeah, same. All right, number 11, West Virginia taking on Georgetown. I'm going to go with West by God, Virginia, because I think Bob Huggins is going to wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, West Virginia's, I mean, they're always typically pretty tough. Bob Huggins always has them ready to play, and he always recruits well. So, I mean, we'll see just how good they are. But yeah, West Virginia over Georgetown.
And now we're going to move on to the team that their fans don't brush their teeth, probably don't bathe, and kiss their sisters. Number 20, Kentucky, taking on Georgia Tech. I'm going to as much as my gag reflex doesn't want me to take this, I'm going to go ahead and take Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's Kentucky right out the gate, so you got to expect them to come ready to play, and we'll find out what kind of team that they have on the floor this year. But, yeah, you got to go with UK right out.
All right, number 8, Michigan State taking on Western Michigan after a big win over Duke the other night. I'm going to stick with Michigan State.
Yeah, I'll go ahead with Michigan State as well. And, you can't really bet against them after taking that one the other night.
Number 6, Duke taking on Elon. I'll go ahead and stick with Duke because, well, Elon is Elon.
I mean, is it Elon Musk that they're playing? That's what I want to know. But if that's the case, maybe Elon can buy his way out of that. But, yeah, I'll take Duke.
No, they're an engineering school in North Carolina.
Oh, all right.
Fun fact.
Interesting.
All right, switching over to college football. Number 25, Louisiana, taking on Appalachian State. Appalachian State is favored by 2.5. I'm going to stick with App State.
I'm going to go with Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. I like to pick them, and I'm going to pick them up again this week. They're going to beat App State.
All right, number 4, Ohio State, taking on Michigan State. Ohio State's favored by 24 points. There's no reason not to think that Ohio State is going to run over Michigan State.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Justin Fields, he's going to put up a bunch of statistics basically against Michigan State, and I see him overtaking that 24-point spread.
Number 5, Texas A&M taking on Auburn, and Texas A&M quietly, sneakily making their way up to the number 5 spot.
Ever since they lost to Alabama, got dismantled by Alabama, Jimbo has them playing very well. I'm going to go with A&M. Yeah.
I'm going to go with A&M too, and the spread on that 7 points, which I think will be a lot more.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, this should have been a double-digit spread.
Number 15, Oklahoma State, by the mullet of Gundy, taking on TCU. Oklahoma State's only favored by 2. I'm going to stick with Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I'll go with Oklahoma State. I mean, they got enough athletes on their offense that's just going to be too tough for TCU to run with.
Number 17, UNC. They got a pretty tough battle here, taking on Western Carolina, who is playing their 3rd game of the season. Either way, I'm sticking with UNC.
Yeah, UNC has quite the advantage in this one. And, the spread could be 85, and I'm still going to take the UNC.
Right. Number 21, Marshall, taking on Rice. Marshall is favored by 23.5 points. No reason not to keep going big green there.
Marshall just doesn't lose. They just don't lose. Seriously. Yeah, we'll take Marshall all day.
Speaking of a team that doesn't lose, number 2, Notre Dame, taking on Syracuse, favored by 34 points. And I'm pretty sure they could not play in the second half and still win by 40.
What's funny is because when I saw this matchup, I didn't even think of the team that was playing Notre Dame. I just kind of looked at the point spread. I was like, I don't know if Notre Dame's going to cover that. And I was like, wait a minute, it's Syracuse? Yes, they're going to cover.
Yeah, if you remember, my beloved Louisville Cardinals beat them 30-0 a couple weeks ago.
I do. You bragged about it.
Yeah, I was pretty excited. Number 6, Florida, taking on Tennessee. Florida's favored by 17.5, and I think Florida's rolling right now. I'm going to go with them.
Yeah, the Florida Trasks. That's what they are, pretty much.
Yeah,
and he'll have a field day against Tennessee.
All right, number 9, Iowa State, sneakily making their way into the top 10.
Yes.
Taking on West by God, Virginia, and they're favored by 6.5 points. I'm still going to stick with Iowa State.
Iowa State has not disappointed me all year. They've brought out and even kind of just been impressive. So, yeah, there's no reason not to pick Iowa State in this one.
Number 12, IU, taking on number 16, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's favored by 16. I'm going with IU. I'm going to gamble.
I got to go with IU here because, normally I would not. In no way would I ever take this. But and this one, man, IU's kind of proved us wrong almost every week, so I'm taking IU.
And also, Wisconsin got thumped by Northwestern,
did.
Maybe they're not that good.
Yeah, maybe they're just not as good as expected.
Number 19, Iowa, taking on Illinois. Iowa is favored by 13.5. I'm going to stick with Iowa.
Illinois always has one game every year where it seems like that they're easily supposed to lose it, and it's always towards the end of the year, too. That they somehow either make it a game and lose in overtime, or they somehow pull off a miraculous upset. I think that this is that game. I'm going with Illinois.
Well, hopefully Lovie Smith can keep his job there because I really like him, but
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Number 24, Tulsa taking on the Navy. Tulsa's favored by 12. I'm going to stick with Tulsa.
Yeah, let's go ahead with Tulsa all day in this one.
Number 8, Georgia taking on Vanderbilt. Georgia's favored by 35.5. Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's pretty much Georgia versus Sarah Fuller in this one, and congrats to her, by the way, for the impact that she's made for women in college football. And I hope that she has a great career, and especially, but yeah, Georgia all day in this one.
And I hope they let her kick a damn field goal.
Absolutely, or get in field goal range anyway.
Right. Number 22, Washington taking on Stanford. Washington's favored by 11.5. I'll take Washington.
Yeah, I'll take Washington this one all day as well. Stanford really hasn't been the same since Andrew Luck.
Yeah, no kidding. Or that Harbaugh guy.
Right.
Number 13, BYU versus number 18, Coastal Carolina. BYU is favored by 10. This breaks my heart to say it, but I'm going to have to go with BYU.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with BYU, too. They haven't, come out of the gate the sluggish against anyone this year, and I think they're going to continue it against the darlings of the pregame, which is
Right.
Coastal Carolina.
All right, number 23, Oregon taking on Cal. Oregon's favored by 10. I'll stick with Oregon.
Yeah, I'll go with Oregon. I mean, just Cal's, they don't have what it takes to compete with Oregon in this one.
Number 3, Clemson taking on Virginia Tech. Clemson by 22.5. I'm going to stick with Clemson.
Yeah, I was almost surprised that it was only 22.5. No offense to Virginia Tech, but yeah, Clemson. They will cover this one pretty easily. It could be by 30-ish or so.
All right, number 2, Bama taking on LSU. Bama's favored by 29.5. I could see LSU only losing by 28.
That's the largest spread that any defending national championship has ever gone up against. And I am going to go with Bama all day because, yes, they are that good.
We'll see. All right, number 10, Miami taking on Duke. Miami's favored by 15. No reason not to think that Miami's going to win by 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, whatever multiple of 5 we need.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Miami all day in this one.
Number 11, Oklahoma taking on Baylor. Oklahoma is favored by 22, and I think they're going to win by over 22.
Look at OU with the true freshman at QB making some waves in top 11 now. Yeah, they'll overtake Baylor here.
All right, moving on to the NFL. Saints, Falcons. Saints are favored by 3. I think the Saints will win by way more than 3, but that's just me.
Yeah, agreed. I think the 3-point spread is only just because the fact that Taysom Hill's in for Drew Brees. But, yeah, I think the Saints kind of have something cooking now as they've kind of rolled through the first couple of games of the Taysom Hill mini era here since until Drew Brees gets back, for that matter. But New Orleans, yes.
All right, Bears versus Lions. Bears are favored by 3. I'm going to go with the Lions.
I'm going to go with the Lions as well against the Chicago Trubisky's because, I mean, Mitch Trubisky is at quarterback for the Bears, and that's why.
Right.
Not only that.
All right, the Browns.
Not only that.
Taking on the Titans. Titans are favored by 5.5. I'm going to bet against the Titans and go with the Browns.
Yeah, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, Tennessee, I think they'll take this one mainly because the Browns, they haven't beaten anyone tough. They've beaten one team this year with a over 500 record. They beat the Colts one week, but other than that, the combined winning percentage is .318 for the other teams that they've beaten. So I'm going to say that they don't beat Tennessee in this one, and so if they don't come close to the spread, Tennessee will cover.
All right, the Bengals and the Dolphins, the Joe Burrow-less Bengals, which you have to keep that into the back of your head.
Exactly.
Dolphins are favored by 11.5. They're going to win by way more than that.
Yeah, and well, for once, I'm kind of proud of you for actually going with the Dolphins covering a spread. Of course, it took them playing the Bengals to do so, but yeah, we'll go ahead with
the Bengals without their one good player.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll go ahead and go against the Bengals in this one. It's going to be Dolphins with Fitzmagic at the helm.
Vikings versus Jags, and let's see. The Vikings are favored by 10. I'll stick with the Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings are playing really well, and of course they're playing the hapless Jags right now. And like I mentioned, Vikings, hey, they've put up 28 points in 4 of their last 5 games, so I'd expect them to score even more than that against the Jaguars in this one.
All right, the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Jets, and the Raiders are favored by 8.5. I'm going to stick with Vegas all day on this one.
Yeah, Raiders are going to rebound from last weekend, and they're also playing the Jets, so why not pick them?
Yeah, the Jets aren't winning a game this year.
No, they won't.
All right, the Colts and Texans. Colts are favored by 3.5. I'm going to go with the Texans. I think Deshaun Watson's going to ball.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. And Indianapolis, as good as their defense came out the gate, out of the start of the season, it's been kind of struggling against the pass lately. And Deshaun Watson's he's putting up numbers we didn't even think that he'd put up this year. They haven't won a ton of games. They're only 4-7, but at the same time, that offense can score on anyone.
All right, the Rams versus the Arizona Cardinals. The Rams are favored by 2.5. This isn't an insult to you, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that out the gate, but I'm taking Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, because this is kind of one of those toss-up games, really, and I mean, it's only a 2.5 spread as well. Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to think that Jared Goff does enough to limit the turnovers this week, and I also think the Rams defense is going to kind of clamp down on wherever Kyler Murray goes.
All right, the Packers taking on the Eagles. Packers are favored by 8.5. Pretty sure they're going to win by more than that. I'm going to stick with the Packers.
Green Bay always has these tough matchups against these teams that aren't necessarily on their level, and I think this is going to be one of those games this week against the Eagles. So I'm not saying that the Eagles are going to beat them, by all means, but I will say it's going to be a kind of a barn burner.
All right, the Patriots taking on the Chargers. The spread is even, so I wouldn't pick either, but I'm going to go with the Patriots.
Yeah, I actually wasn't sure who to pick in this one, and the tough luck Chargers, who seem to find ways to lose by one possession every week. I think this is another one of those that they're going to lose. So yeah, the Patriots in this one.
All right, the Chiefs and the Broncos. Chiefs are favored by only 14, which is kind of surprising to me, but I think they're going to win regardless.
Yeah, Broncos, hats off to Hinton last week for sticking in there and trying to play quarterback after coming in off the practice squad and everything. They're kind of were dealt a bad hand, but I mean, Broncos just have some problems this year, and Patrick Mahomes there.
And taking a look at the first of three, yes, I said three Monday Night Football games.
Yes, this is one of the craziest schedules that you'll ever see.
Yeah, even weirder than a Wednesday afternoon game, early afternoon.
Right, yeah.
All right, we've got Washington taking on the Steelers. There wasn't a spread up for this, but I'm going to stick with the Steelers.
Yeah, whatever the spread is, it's the Steelers by probably not enough of whatever the spread is. So, yeah, Steelers all day.
Bills versus 49ers. The Bills are favored by 1.5, so I'll stick with the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Bills as well. 49ers, I mean, their defense can keep them in games, but I don't think that they have enough to overtake the Bills' offense.
All right, and finally, the Ravens taking on the Cowboys. There isn't a spread set up on that, but there's nothing in my mind that says that the Cowboys can pull this off, so the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm going to say Ravens all day, no matter who's at quarterback for the Ravens. Whatever happens, whether it's Lamar Jackson back or RG3 or McSorley, whoever, it doesn't matter. It's going to be Ravens over the Cowboys.
That is going to do it for the pregame this week. I think we decided that we're probably going to do 2 episodes a week until football season's over. Is that right?
Just way too much stuff to cover for 1 week. So, yes, absolutely.
It's kind of hard to be able to cover college basketball, college football, and NFL. I mean, there's just a little too much sports.
There is, yeah. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, there's, with so many college basketball in 1 week, I mean, plus, we got to go Home Depot and Bed Bath & Beyond if we have time. I don't know. I just don't know if we'll have enough time.
Yeah. Especially Bed Bath & Beyond. All right, that's just it. That's how we're going to end it with Bed Bath & Beyond. # not a sponsor.
Exactly, right.
You just listened to the pregame with Matt and Jax.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.